We are joined by a very special guest, Jenna Abelli, joining us today to talk about the brand new Cascade women's headgear. Pretty exciting to finally get our hands on one of these. They're pretty interesting. It's different than what I was expecting. How long has this been in the works?
So we've been working on the development for about 3 years. We did the process in parallel with the Astm Standard development. ASTM is a really collaborative process, so you sit in a committee with all manufacturers, rulemaking bodies, and you decide on the methods that will be used in the standard. We were heavily involved in a lot of the testing that went into those standards. So in parallel, we began testing a lot of materials and our existing technology used on the men's side and in some of our Bauer hockey products. And then we started to really ramp up our development process when the standard was passed in May 2015.
Well, and we know now that in Florida, the high school girls players will have to wear these, which is certainly interesting. They're ahead of the curve or behind it, depending on how you look at it. Was this was in development before that even happened?
We started when the discussions began for the ASTM process. And in Florida this season for 2017, they will be allowed to wear the current products that are being worn. And then in season 2018, they will have to wear products that meets the new ASTM standard.
And you mentioned the ASTM standard. For those that are unaware, what is that standard? What are some of the rules behind the new headgear and why you developed this product?
Sure. So the standard is 3 components. It's really targeting accidental contacts. The first one is a test that simulates a 45-mile-per-hour stick swing. The second one is a 60-mile-per-hour ball impact. And the third one is a deformation test or a level of flexibility so that the headgear won't injure a player who chooses not to wear it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And if you wouldn't mind, can you go over some of the features
Sure.
that make this special?
So when we started the development, one of the first components was having an integrated goggle. The integrated goggle is going to reduce the pressure on your face that's experienced by the goggles. And so it just rests there and it travels sort of as a unit. And so because it's engineered together, it's going to be more comfortable on the field. It's going to be easy to get on and off if you have a timeout. If you have 2 products that were not designed together, you're going to have a lot more issues with fit and comfort than an integrated system. Then secondly, it's one size. So the fit system has a rear adjustable strap in the back and exchangeable cheek pads. So you can really dial in that fit. You can buy one size for your whole team. You don't have to worry about fitting beforehand. You can just buy and go. Another really exciting feature is the flexible outer shell. The flexible outer shell allows for team decals. This is something that's new for a non-goalie player for the women's game. So this is really exciting. It's a good way to have a team look and for girls to customize their product.
Well, yeah, it's pretty exciting. I mean, the decals already on this one are pretty sharp. I saw in all of the promotional pictures and everything. When I saw a number of girls trying them out, I mean, what was the process like when the players were trying them out? I mean, what age groups did you look at? I mean, obviously this seems like it's more of a youth-oriented thing, but we've seen a number of college players come out and say that they're interested in them as well.
So we've done so many focus groups and fit testing and field testing, ages from 6 to 23. So really making sure that we get feedback from players of all ages. It can be worn in all ages. Focus groups are really an integral part of our development. Really getting the feedback from the player is super important, and you can definitely see that in some of the features, like the options for your ponytail. You can put it out through the back or wear it through the bottom. That was super important to girls. Ventilation was hugely important. Anything is going to be warmer than nothing, so we really wanted to make sure that we could make that transition from goggles to headgear as seamless as possible. So those types of design features are really a result of our focus groups and feedback sessions.
And you're pretty ahead of the curve in terms of other manufacturers not having a product out like this. How exciting is it that you've gotten a jump start and you're ahead and have brought this product out at the time that you have?
Well, you know, at Cascade, we've been around for about 30 years.
Yeah.
We have a really strong heritage in the men's game. So it's really the natural progression that we would really want to be in the forefront of any type of protection in the women's game as well.
I'm excited. I mean, this is the first time, like I said, that we've been able to get our hands on those. Do you mind? And the one thing that seems really interesting to me is, for one, I have a pretty big head. I tried this on before we went on. It fits, you know. But the one thing I noticed was the comfort, like you mentioned, in the cheekbones. I've obviously tried on the goggles as well, as one does. And you really hit the nail on the head with the pressure across the front of the face. I mean, what have the athletes been saying about the vision? It seems like it feels better and looks better too.
Yeah, so compared to goggles, goggles have really been getting smaller and really kind of narrowing on the face. We've pulled the cheeks back, so you're still going to have that same great vision that you had with goggles, and it's just going to be more comfortable.
Well, certainly, and I know before we came on, we talked about a couple of the colleges. I mean, do you expect some college players to be wearing these this year as well?
I think some college players may choose to use it if they've had any type of history with a head injury, just to feel a little bit more comfortable getting back out there. There have been some teams that are interested in testing it out and seeing what it's all about, but we'll have to see what happens.
And of course, concussions, obviously a big conversation in the sports world in general. Is this a product that you can say, hey, this is going to make it safer and hopefully prevent those types of injuries?
So no headgear or helmet can prevent concussions. This is specifically for the forces in women's lacrosse. So you have that 60-mile-per-hour ball impact, the 45-mile-an-hour stick swing. And what this product does is it reduces the forces experienced in those type of impacts. And those are the forces that could then result in a type of head injury. But again, no helmet or headgear can prevent a concussion.
Right. And once you get your hands on this, the one thing that I really noticed is how flexible and soft it is. I think that was one of our concerns when we were first talking about the new headgear would be kind of knocking heads with someone that wasn't wearing them. But getting to feel this and just seeing the flexibility that's a part of this helmet, it really seems like the sort of thing that would prevent any sort of injury if you ran into somebody wearing this, more than just running into another head.
Yeah.
Yep, so that's the part of the deformation test of the standard where you really have a metal anvil that it has to deform on either side. And that kind of simulates a contact with another player's head to make sure that it would deform on impact and not cause any additional forces. Well,
and looking at the goggles, I know a number of questions we've gotten about it is why it isn't a full mask and everything going on that. And there's some rules about that, right?
Yep, so in the U.S. lacrosse rules, a full mask is not allowed for a field player. So that goes into part of the design where you can really only have that half mask as the goggle.
And I think the other really interesting part that everyone's been talking about is the decals, and you know how you can customize. You have a name and a number. What went into kind of developing the areas where you can put decals on the helmet?
Well, I think you'll start to see somebody will take this product and go crazy with the decals.
Right.
These are just some simple things that we would recommend to start out with for girls' teams. The decals was a huge component when we started developing this product. There are so many different ways that you could come up with a solution for the standard. You'll see apples and oranges out there, and for us it was really important that we would give girls the opportunity to have the same customization that is seen on the men's side.
Yeah.
It's something that people get really excited about, and we wanted to give them that opportunity.
Pretty similar look to a men's Cascade helmet. We have a bunch around the studio, but the same type of look that you see in the men's helmet as well.
Yeah, there's definitely some Cascade DNA in there.
Yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to getting out to LaxCon and seeing all the wild designs that all of the companies are gonna put out there. And in terms of this, I mean, you talk about trying to be ahead of the curve and always evolving. I mean, are you already thinking about the next iteration or what's coming on for the women's headgear?
Well, field testing and focus groups is an ongoing process. We're still doing it today, even though we just decided to go to launch. So we really make sure that any feedback that we're getting that gets kind of put in a bucket and goes towards our next product.
Well, I'm certainly excited to see these hit the field this year, and just to see the number of players that are wearing them. I mean, it's hard for me to imagine that there aren't college players that are going to want to be seeing these, even international players. I know that we had Dana Dobie on the show, and she was talking about how excited she was to have an option out there for Headgear. She of course chooses not to wear anything, but just having the option out there just seems like such an important component, even if it isn't actually required.
Yeah, I mean, it's an optional piece of equipment. We wanted to offer something for people that do decide to wear it, and we wanted it to be an aesthetically pleasing product. The mirror test, if a girl tries it on and looks at herself in the mirror, that's hugely important. You want her to feel cool and feel comfortable, and I think we really were able to achieve that with this product.
Well, and just seeing all the girls players in the promotional videos, that seemed like a common theme. They all liked the look, and I specifically, I remember there was one girl who said, "Oh, you better watch out. I feel so confident."
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's really what you're looking for, the additional confidence for the player, especially at the youth level, to go out there and feel like they're not going to get hurt.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of areas where the game is growing and girls are still refining their skills, but maybe getting a little bit stronger and faster, that's where the accidents do happen. So we want to make sure that if somebody is worried about an accidental contact, that they have a product available to wear.
Well, and even when I remember when I first started playing lacrosse, I wouldn't even go to the wall without my lid. It was like one of those things. Like I didn't trust myself enough to
I remember that.
to catch the ball, and I hit myself in the face the first time. So that was why I had to do that. But I mean, it seems like something that would be an important piece of training as well. Even if you're just alone, to have the confidence to go out there and play catch and maybe try some things that you hadn't tried before.
Yeah, when I first started playing lacrosse back in the day, my first year we didn't have to wear goggles. And going up and playing at the collegiate level, I would never go back to not playing with goggles. So it'll be interesting to see if there's a similar effect here.